Hi, Dr. Alina Kolchitsky, Boutique Bodyworks. I'm going to show you today how to cook lentils. They really don't take very long, especially if you choose the red or yellow variety, or they look orangey, the kind that's used for making Indian dal. But I'm going to just use our standard green lentils, the most common that you find in the grocery store. And notice these are organic. And yeah, since it's just me, I'm going to make just 1 cup, okay? So let's get it started, and then while it's cooking, I will tell you about the health benefits. So right now it's 4:41 p.m. and I'm measuring off a cup of dried lentils. Now it is a good idea to rinse these first. So before I get carried away with cooking them, let's rinse them. All right. So you want to get a colander. Or a sieve of some kind, dump them in, run it under water. It's that easy. And this is just to get rid of impurities. And stones and things like that can get mixed in. So you also want to kind of take a look, see if there's any stones in there, because the last thing you want to do is bite down on a stone, wreck your teeth. Okay, and dump that in. And then we're going to add some water. So I want to just cover this. Let's see. Away, sorry. Hard to do with one hand. All right. That's my cat. Sorry, honey. So we're just going to cover it. And it looks like that. Okay, so it's just covered with water. Now we're going to turn it on high to bring it to a hard boil and cover it while we get that going. And then once it gets to a hard boil, we're going to lower it, but I'll show you when we get to that point. Okay, so let's go back to our conversation about lentils. There's some other things you can do if you're worried about lectins. So lectins have been made hot in the press by that cardiovascular doctor, Dr. Gundry, and there's not evidence that this is a problem. And if you are sensitive to lectins, and I talk about this in other videos, then there's some things you can do to reduce lectins. And what are lectins? It's an anti-nutrient. They are properties in the plant that protect the plant from being consumed by other species. And so it's a defense mechanism built into the plant. When you soak lentils or legumes overnight and then toss out that water and rinse the legume before cooking, you reduce the lectins. And then additionally, when you cook them, you break down those lectins so that they are digestible. So no longer anti-nutrient and no longer binding to other nutrients that you consume, making them unabsorbable, thus the name anti-nutrient. So that's how you reduce the lectins in legumes and lentils. So just soak them overnight, dump the water, rinse, and then cook them well. Now I don't mean to mush, but you want to cook them so that they're soft enough to chew. So lentils, there's different kinds, as I mentioned. The green variety is the most common, as I said. There's a French variety that's green, but it's smaller than the standard green called Puy or P-U-Y, and they are used in a lot of specialty cuisine dishes. But know that you could substitute regular green lentils, which are just larger, version of the pui or pui and use those instead. There's also a variety called beluga because they're black. And so those are going to be really high in antioxidants due to the black color. And they can be used like caviar, that's the name. And so that can be a fun one to play with to make little canapes or things like appetizer things and increase the nutrient content of your dish. But that's one you could explore and play with. And the orangey reddish color or yellow lentils are used in dal, that's a D-A-L, Indian dish, right, with cooked lentils. It's almost like a mush with spices, which is delicious. But they cook really fast because they're hulled, meaning the outer husk has been removed and split. And so they only take 5 minutes to prepare. So that's the easiest, quickest lentil variety to cook with and get all the wonderful nutrients from lentils. Now, lentils are really high in protein. So this is a plant-forward protein to use in your plant-forward eating. If you're trying to reduce animal protein in your diet to help improve, all your biomarkers that improve your longevity and prevent chronic diseases of all kinds, lentils are a great option. And you can get really creative with them and use them in many ways. So basically a cup of cooked lentils, 280 milligrams, is containing 17 and a half, more than 17 and a half. Basically, if you round up, 18 grams of protein. So that's almost 20 grams of protein for a cup. Now it's really high in folate as well. So it's over 90% of your daily requirement for folate. And know that folate, when we get enough of it, helps to reduce homocysteine, which is an inflammatory marker in our bodies. So if we are suffering from inflammation in the body, our homocysteine levels will be elevated. They often are elevated because we don't get enough folate or we have insufficient folate intake. Folate comes in the form of leafy greens and legumes, including lentils. So lentils are a great source for that. Okay, let's go back to the pot for a moment here. Let's add some light. That's going to be hot. So the water's already cooked off quite a bit. I'm going to reduce my heat to just below medium. Let me get a spoon. And let's stir. They're already almost cooked. So yeah, let's reduce that heat quite a bit. Notice I didn't add any spices or salt or pepper or anything like that. You can, but I always cook mine plain so that I can change the flavors with every meal that I make to be creative and not feel bored with the palate. So now I've covered it completely, put it on low heat, and I'm going to let it sit there as it cooks for the little remainder of our time, which would be only maybe 5 minutes. We'll check on that in 5 minutes. Okay, it's pretty quick, right? I mean, we started at 4:41, it's now 4:49, and we have maybe 5 minutes left to cook and it's ready. So this is going to last me for a few days, so I'll be able to get a few dishes out of this and to continue our conversation about nutrient content. So it's high in folate, great for reducing homocysteine, to reduce inflammation in our body. Also very high in copper, 55% of our daily required intake for copper. Copper is a mineral that we need for enzymatic reactions in our body. Also high in potassium, several B vitamins, zinc, manganese, very high in manganese, and those are the major ones. But there are some other things that it has as well, but those are the ones of highest concentration. So it's low in fat, less than 1 gram in 1 cup of cooked lentils. Also, it is high in fiber, as you would expect, right? So this is a carbohydrate or starch, if you will. It's got complex, long chains of carbon bonds. So it's a polysaccharide, if you will. It takes time to break it down, so it's low on the glycemic index, so it's not going to spike blood sugars, but also because of the high fiber content, it will help lower your blood sugars. So it is great for managing blood sugars and preventing diabetes. The fiber content for just 1 cup is over 15 grams, so 15.5 grams of fiber. That's half your fiber recommendation intake for the day, which is a minimum of 30 grams. So with just 1 cup of lentils in your one meal in the day, you've got half of your daily fiber requirements. That's also going to help, obviously, your GI tract and improve the good microbiota, or the good bacteria in your gut. And other properties because of the fiber and lowering blood sugars is to help cholesterol. So it actually lowers your LDLs and triglycerides and increases your HDL. Also, because of these properties, improves blood pressure and actually can lower blood pressure because it inhibits angiotensin 1 enzyme. And so what that does is reduce vasoconstriction of your blood vessels. So it means it relaxes the blood vessels, which reduces blood pressure. So it's good for preventing heart disease. Talked about the diabetes. And then, of course, it's a plant. And so it is high in polyphenols. These are the special chemicals in plants, natural to them, that are high in antioxidants, or are antioxidants. Also the polyphenols, flavonoids, that have all kinds of disease preventing properties. Okay, I can hear it kind of sizzling a bit, so let's take a look. It means the water content has gotten low, so we want to make sure it stirs and not burn. Looks like so. And let's test a piece to see how firm it is. Okay. Mine's still a bit firm, so I had it on the high for the water, boiling portion rather, of the cooking phase. So let's add a bit of water. This is what I love about cooking legumes. You can easily adjust without doing anything that's going to affect the quality of the outcome. If it's not cooked enough, add some more water, turn up the heat. So I added some water. Stirred it in. Let's turn up that heat to medium. I'm going to partially cover it. And we'll let it cook a little bit longer. So if I've been cooking on this on my own without being distracted by making a video, we'd be done right now. But also, you know, depending on the type of lentils, it can take longer if they're more dense and fibrous, or shorter if they are less, like the yellow and orangey red varieties. So we were talking about blood pressure benefits, the polyphenols. So the polyphenols, including antioxidants, flavonoids, these ingredients in plants, they are very high in lentils. And so these are found to help reduce our risk for cancer. And with lentils, studies on animals and in the laboratory on cells, cancer cells, have been found to specifically really help reduce skin cancer and prevent skin cancer from growing cancer cells. So though this has not been tested in humans, that is good evidence to help us think that there is potential for human benefit as well. It needs to be researched further. But, you know, the more plant-based you eat of the whole color of rainbow plants, the more likely we are to prevent all types of diseases, including cancers, and which is the complete opposite of eating a highly processed diet, foods that have been processed with lots of additives, over-milled, under high heat to change their properties and textures and flavors, and adding all kinds of ingredients to enhance flavors and shelf life. Those highly processed foods, due to all those reasons, actually cause things, inflammation in the body, cancers, and contribute to the chronic diseases that we are plagued by in American society. in most modern Western societies around the world, but especially America. We consume them more than anybody else, and so we suffer more than anybody else with rates of all those diseases, including not just cancer, but heart disease and dementia, diabetes, and high blood pressure, to name a few. Okay, so I am stirring. And you can see there's still liquid in there, but the size and texture of the lentils are changing. They're getting a little bit bigger and starting to split a little bit. So signs of being cooked. I like to use my lentils in many different ways. I like to saute in a frying pan with some extra virgin olive oil and various herbs or spices. Chop up or mince some garlic, onion, celery and carrot. Maybe add some tomato, or maybe just the herbs with onion, garlic, and tomato. And put that in a tortilla, corn tortilla with a little bit of cheese, salad on the side. You have dinner. I made a pizza recently, putting a whole cup of lentils sprinkled across a 12-inch crust pizza using a cauliflower crust with some cheeses and mushrooms and herbs, and gave me 50 grams of protein for the whole pizza. Serving was half the pizza, so it was 25 grams of plant protein. Well, that had cheese, so plant and dairy combined, but 25 grams of protein, so that's pretty good. Oh yeah, that's soft. It is done. So turn off the heat. It's now 5 o'clock. So, I had to extend the cooking time, adding a little bit of water because I was distracted by making the video. But this is what we've got. Notice when I stir, there's no more water. All the water is evaporated. Okay, so that's important. And it's easy to cook off any excess water by just taking off the lid and keep stirring on moderate heat. And that water will just evaporate off very quickly. So once you see that there's no more, when you move your spoon, there's no more water, you're good to go. You can take it off the heat, let it cool down. I store mine in a glass container so that I can use it for the next few days. For the next, 3 or 4 meals. I probably get at least 4 or 5 cups out of this. And that's it. Turn your heat off. Make sure that's off. And you're done. And now you're ready to get creative and make some dinner with it. I think those tacos sound good to me. Make it with a salad, avocado, and you can have a full meal. Put some cheese or not if you want to be more vegan and more plant forward. But you can use them in salads. Sprinkle lentils on top of your salad, just like you would with animal protein in a salad, but instead use lentils. You could make soups, of course, but right now it's summer, so I like more to doing the salads. You could use it like a bowl, like doing a quinoa bowl, but with lentils. By all means, you can add quinoa with the lentils and chop up some fresh vegetables and make a Mediterranean bowl, with tomato, fresh tomatoes, some basil, a little bit of olive oil, some avocado, and delicious. There you go, you have a meal. So I hope that helps. Really super easy to cook with lentils, and then get creative with how you want to toss them here and there in different dishes. You could probably also puree it and use it in a smoothie or use it in baking. Just like there's many recipes out there for brownies and types of those baked goods that are more dense, using beans like black beans or garbanzos or chickpeas. You could use lentils as well for that. So, sky's the limit. Be creative, add your lentils to get you more plant-based protein and lower the animal protein in your diet. You don't have to eliminate it if you don't feel that's an option for you, but you can definitely reduce it, and that will improve your risks for all those chronic diseases as well as extend your life. Thank you. Check out all my other videos, and bye for now.